Hello guys, it's Dr. Newell. I wanted to show you your work for your learning cards. So we had 4 new learning cards today or this week. And let me go ahead and see if I can zoom in just a wee bit. All right, so we have translations. I put these in your folders already. If you are in math, um, 5th block, I still have your folders and I'll give them to you. I strongly encourage you to do this weekend. If you don't get to finish in class, you can do this at home, but you want to have these cards ready for Monday because you will have your test, okay? So here are our learning cards. Remember to add, subtract from points based on direction when you are dealing with translations, okay? Translations is adding and subtracting. You have all your notes over here. What is it that I need? What are some key words, right? And then you have an example that you're going to have to do. So we have a pre-image. This is the image that we are working from to translate or to move over. And we are going to move this unit, this triangle, 3 units to the left and 2 units up. So what I want you to always do first, for now, when you get to geometry in 10th grade, it may be different for you. But for right now, I want you to list your ordered pairs, right? Label your points. And then I want you to write what your image prime points are going to be and the ordered pair after you do the translation, in the sense of you do the translation with the numbers. So if I start at 3 and I am going to translate 3 units to the left, that because the first value in my ordered pair are x values, I'm going to subtract 3. And when I subtract 3 from 3, I get 0. When I add 2 units on my y point, which is -4, -4 plus 2 gives me -2. And that's how I did this work, okay? These arrows that are drawn are just showing you the work for each ordered set or each ordered pair. And remember, you need to put the letter just as it was written here, and you need to put the prime sign or symbol and the ordered pair. And ordered pairs should include parentheses and a comma in between them, or it is incorrect. And then you draw out your pre-image based on what the ordered pair is. Remember, we start with X. It tells us how far to the left or to the right to go. So for L, it said, where's L? It said 3, go over 3, 1, 2, 3, and down 4, because it's a -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark it, put your little L, okay? And you do that for each one. And then you'll have your drawing, and then you look at where your new image is going to be. And I say use a different color pencil, a different color pen, or a highlighter so that I can see the difference between your image and your pre-image, okay? And that's how we're going to do it. You can pause the video and go back and do the work and check it against mine if you need to. The next one is your reflection. Now, notice on this one, again, we have all our notes. What are keywords for reflections, and what do I need? I need a line of reflection. A reflection could be a mirror image, or what some people call it flipping, okay? What is my line of reflection? It's going to be given to me all the time if I need to find the image. And sometimes they'll have the pre-image and the image and ask you what was the line of reflection. And then you just have to count the distance between your pre-image and your line of reflection and the distance between the line of reflection and your image, and it should be the same. That will be that will tell you where your what the distance was or where your line of reflection is, okay? Because it should be midpoint or midway between those both of those images. All right, so here we go. It says my reflection has crossed the line x equals -1. This line here is -1. That is x, all right? So x goes horizontal from left to right. And so this is -1, -2, -3, because this origin line here is 0. So I'm going to reflect across this line. Remember, highlight your line of reflection, even on your test. That way I know you know where it is, okay? And then you count from your pre-image to that line, 1, 2, 3. So I know that this point reflected across this line of reflection is going to be 1, 2, 3 points away. And I do that for the rest. Now, in this particular case, because I decided to make my reflection line x equals -1, you will have to extend your grid. Please do that. That will be correct. Okay? And then you can draw your points. All right? I don't want this video to be too long, so pause and do what you need, but I'm moving on. All right, so here we have rotations, and I know many of you wanted to do rotations online, and you still can. You will have a problem on there. It may not be guided like the ones you did for practice, though, so make sure you really know how to do that or pay attention to this. So first of all, let's go over this work here with rotations. With rotations, my keywords are going to be turn or rotate, and then I need a center of rotation. I need the angle and the direction. And I just want to re-emphasize for you or reiterate that if they just say 90 degrees about the origin, it's going to be it's going to be clockwise, because the clock normally rotates this way. Like if you have your shorthand and your longhand, more of my good drawings, the clock usually goes this way. That's clockwise. If it's going this way, that's counterclockwise. All right. And so you just need to know that. And if they don't say the direction, or if it says something like -90, that would be counterclockwise, or -270 automatically means go the opposite way. All right. I will try to stick to the language we've been using, but I'm telling you because we're starting map testing and I need you to know that there are different ways to represent that. All right, so here, this is what I'm going to do. I've already done the work, so act like this isn't even here. All right, matter of fact, let's just go ahead and, jimmy rig this thing and cover this up. Okay, because you don't know what that's going to be yet. All right, so how do I do this with patty paper, Dr. Noel? I'm so glad you asked. And if Kennedy or Maya were here, they would show you. So you draw your Y and your X, and this is going to be my center of rotation. It's the origin for all of our level work. Now, when you get to high school and you're in geometry, they may give you a different center of rotation, which makes sense, but we are only doing at the origin. All right, so hopefully my line is straight-ish, because I'm kind of trying to hurry. I don't want this video to be too long. And then you're going to trace over your image. Wherever your pre-image, I should say, is, trace it. Try to be neat. Some of you guys, our drawings are worse than mine, and y'all know I can't draw. I have to have the worst drawings. And then what I'm going to ask you to do here is, if I rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, what quadrant will it be in? So clockwise, remember, and I made myself a little cheat sheet. I drew my arrows in the direction that it's asking for. So clockwise is to the right, counter is to the left. So let's do 90 so we can see. Clockwise, boop, it's going to end in quadrant 2. So I put second quadrant. Now, if I do, let me go back to my origin, and if I rotate it 270 degrees counterclockwise, this is 90, this is 180, this is 270. It will end up in quadrant 2. So I wrote quadrant 2, or second quadrant. And then if I rotate 180 degrees, and remember with 180, it does not matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise, it is going to end up in the same spot. So I'm going to follow what it says though, counterclockwise, that's 90, that's 180. Okay? And then it asks me to add a drawing, so first quadrant. It asked me to add a drawing of one of the images. I decided to do the 180 degrees. And you just, once it gets to that point, you look at what your coordinate or your ordered pairs are, and you put your circles there and just draw the image just like it is. Okay? That's how we do rotations. Pause it, go back over it if you need to. Last one, dilations. So with dilations, our keywords may be scale up, enlargement, because something else that we need to always remember is that with dilations, we are multiplying by the scale factor, and the abbreviation for scale factor is K. It's just what it's going to be, right? In math, that's how say to scale up, they use the letter K. And so here I've given you your dilation of 2, okay? And then I've given you your ordered pairs for each point. So all you're going to do is draw out your pre-image. I did that here, okay? And then go ahead and dilate each point, multiply each point by the scale factor. So -1 times 2 is -2. 0 times 0 times 2 is 0. So that is my first ordered pair. K prime, remember my image is always prime there. And if I had 2 images, it would be, if it was the second image or an image made off of this, it would be K prime prime, okay? At any rate, then I go on to the values for C and multiply them by the scale factor and make C prime and multiply the values of U by the scale factor and get U prime. And then I plot them all and I draw lines that have different colors. That way, I trace my triangle in different colors so I can see my pre-image and my dilated image. Okay? That's it for our notes. Take your time to go over this over the weekend because you will be testing on Monday. Ciao for now.